welcome to another edition of the Throwing Bagels Podcast. Kevin Mooney here with you alongside Jason Hamo. Hello, Jason.
Hello there.
Hello. Chris Douglas is on assignment. He is refereeing some soccer games. So got to do what you got to do. So he'll be back at some point in the near future. Rest assured, he will be rejoining us at some point once those tournaments are over, you know. But we have a couple of fantastic guests in store for this edition of Throwing Bagels. It's our genuine pleasure to welcome in the current hosts of Backroads to Bridge Street with Tom and Jerry on WSYR News Channel 9. They're both former network television communications executives at CBS, NBC, Turner Sports, USA Network. Also writers, four-time authors. Their most recent book was called Icebreakers, A Kid's Guide to Hockey and the Greatest Players Who Changed the Game. That came out last year. And also grew up in Oswego. Identical twins, I believe identical. Yes, fraternal, yeah. Identical. I think identical. We'll go with that.
Identical.
Tom is a fellow Oswego alum. Jerry attended Oswego as well and then transferred to Cal State Fullerton. Please welcome in Tom and Jerry Caraccioli. Hey, guys.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Kevin.
No, really appreciate you taking the time to join us on the podcast. So we are going to talk about the latest book, but first, something that popped up on our LinkedIn feeds, and it was really interesting. We're going to start with hockey. So you're involved with a new venture called Cosmic Hockey, which will start playing games sometime this winter. So what's Cosmic Hockey all about?
So Cosmic Hockey is a mix between, well, if you're thinking about what it is, it's a mix between the Harlem Globetrotters and the Savannah Bananas, the barnstorming type of property, but only with hockey. And so it's a new venture, and tryouts will be taking place in Boston on August 1st and Buffalo on August 8th. So any of your listeners who think they have what it takes to be entertaining, we welcome you. But it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very energetic. There's going to be different rules. It's not going to be a traditional type of situation, but we're going to play in the dark, some of it, with a glow in the dark puck and equipment and all kinds of things. It's going to be super, super exciting and fun.
We've all grown up at one point and have played cosmic bowling, right? Where it's dark, everything kind of glows in the dark. So that's kind of the same kind of situation here.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yep.
So if you're in the dark, right, are the jerseys gonna be like fluorescent also? They're gonna light up, they're gonna be lit up like the puck?
Gonna be fluorescent jerseys, fluorescent pucks, sticks, gloves, a lot of stickers and things that'll be on the pucks, the sticks, the ice, the skates. There'll be paint on the ice that will light up. So yeah, it'll be a pretty cool looking thing when the lights go out.
Nice. So why did you guys decide to get involved with Cosmic Hockey?
We got a call from a friend of ours who we'd worked with in the industry. We've worked with him for 30 some odd years. And he said, I have a friend, I have a contact that needs a couple hockey guys. And he says, you guys were the first ones I thought about. And so we said, well, what do they need? They told us, and we thought about it, and we're like, geez, that sounds pretty cool, pretty interesting. We've grown up playing hockey our whole lives, still play to this day, and just thought, hey, you know what? This is pretty cool. It's interesting. Let's give it a shot and see what they want to do, and see if we can help them out.
Yeah, and so what's been the response so far from like the hockey fan community with this?
I think right now, since it's just in its infancy stages, I mean, it really, like Tom said, tryouts haven't even begun yet. They're going to be in the next couple of weeks. People are just hearing about it. I think once people see it visually, it will really start to explode. I think right now it's just getting things ready to go so that people will be blown away when they see it.
And we were worried about, the traditionalists wondering, you're messing around with this game, but it's been embraced. And the whole idea behind this is call attention to the greatest game in the world, and call attention to it so that it grows. And so that's what we're doing. That's what we find most appealing. And again, you mentioned our book previously, and that's what our book kind of does too. We're trying to grow the game and call attention to a game and a sport that we love and have grown up with. As I said, we continue to play. And so Cosmic Hockey just seemed like a natural progression to that idea, and we're really excited about it.
Has anything ever been done like this before that to your knowledge, that someone has tried something like this?
Not in hockey, only this Cosmic Hockey is the sibling to Cosmic Baseball. If any of your viewers go online and Google Cosmic Baseball, they'll see what's happening in that infotainment type of genre with baseball. We're going to do the same thing with hockey.
The baseball, for point of reference, they've had a schedule of 25 city tour, 74 events, all sold out, and they've had about 750,000 fans coming to these games. And that's just, we're in the first year of that. So we're hoping that similar interest will take place in the start of Cosmic Hockey, and it'll take off just like that. That's our hope.
The tour will involve going through a lot of different AHL, ECHL rinks. Are there any plans to bring this Barnstorming tour through parts of Central New York or perhaps New York City?
Right now, they've been in contact with about 12 different cities, North American cities. It's still very much up in the air, negotiating different places. So the schedule is definitely not set.
But there has been some Central New York talk. There's a lot of AHL hockey in Central New York, and we're thinking that hopefully eventually it'll make its way in this neck of the woods.
Who's in charge of this whole venture? Like, whose idea was it that came about?
So the director of operations is a fellow by the name of John Simperman, who was a former marketing and branding executive with the LA Kings and the Buffalo Sabres. And he was approached by Chris Martin, who is the founder of Cosmic Sports, which includes Cosmic Baseball. And so from there, it took off from there. But, Jerry and I are cogs in that wheel at this point, and we're hoping that it's going to take off.
Let's talk a little bit about your book that we mentioned and that you referred to, Icebreakers, A Kid's Guide to Hockey and the Greatest Players Who Changed the Game. But this book isn't just for kids, is it?
No, it's a hockey book for kids of all ages. It spans players from the early 1900s all the way up to now. So like Howie Morenz, if depending on, again, how deep your viewers want to go with the history, but Howie Morenz in the early 1920s, right up to today, and Connor McDavid and Matthew Tkachuk and, a lot of the other great players that are a part of it. And obviously Gretzky is there, and
Gordie
Paul
Howe.
Coffey, Gordie Howe. It spans
Bobby Orr.
the different eras from the early 1920s to now.
There's also quite a bit about women's hockey, right?
There is. And, we made a big point of making sure that we mentioned women's hockey because, as we know, we watched it occur this winter with the Olympics, how great a sport that is and how talented these women are. This is not any kind of fluke. This has been going on for decades now. and it's finally coming to fruition that women are getting their just desserts in recognition for the game that again that we all love. And so we felt it really important to highlight the Cami Granados and the Haley Wickenheisers.
Angela Ruggiero.
Yeah.
So actually, I want to go back to the cosmic hockey for a quick second. The are there going to be? I mean, tryouts are obviously for anyone. Do you plan to have women playing in this cosmic hockey league as well?
Yes. Right now we're talking about probably 15-person,
Two teams.
two teams of 15 people on per team, and women will be included in those 15 players on each side. Absolutely.
There's no like checking. There's nothing like that. It's just really up and down, free flowing ice skating. Like for this, is that what fans can expect?
There's not going to be checking. There's not going to be checking, but it's still going to have a physical, you're going to rub somebody out in the boards. You're going to make the plays that you would normally make. But there's entertainment. It's about entertainment and creativity and merging that speed and skill together, where the players are entertainers, but they're also competitors. So it's going to be competitive. It's not going to be, a Harlem Globetrotters versus Washington Generals type. They're going to be playing to win every game. So that's how it's set up.
And the whole idea behind it too is, look, there's no checking, but like in beer league hockey, there's no checking, but that doesn't mean there's no contact. So that's kind of the way it is. But as Jerry said, the stress is mostly in talent and entertainment, and really showing off skills that of today's players that are just astounding, absolutely astounding.
Right, like you said, more Savannah Bananas than Harlem Globetrotters.
Or a little combination of both, really.
Okay.
Let's talk about your first book for a second. It's called Striking Silver, The Untold Story of America's Forgotten Hockey Team, and that looks at the 1972 U.S. Olympic men's ice hockey team, which took home the silver medal. And one of the members of that team was goaltender Pete Sears, who played at Oswego State, coached the both of you while growing up playing hockey in Oswego. What were some of your biggest takeaways from a project like that, going through that process of researching and writing your first book?
Well, first of all, it really was, and you touched on it, but it was a labor of love for us to be able to tell the story of Pete and his teammates. Pete and his wife Kay they're very dear to us, and the idea behind the book came one day when I was playing golf with Pete, and he had mentioned something, and I said, well, gee, Jerry and I are actually thinking about writing a book about you guys. And he says, us, why would anybody want to know about a silver medal winning team that time forgot? And we said, because that's why, because you didn't get your just desserts. You won a silver medal in a time of America and the world that forgot a lot of the accomplishments that the young people were undertaking. That time period was all full of Vietnam and political strife and the women's movement, et cetera. And we just thought it was, we had the gold medal in 1960, we had the gold medal in 1980. But in between that was 1972, and nobody ever talked about it. So we took it upon ourselves that we wanted to tell that story.
And that story, as Tom alluded to, dealt with the Vietnam War, and some of the players were actually in the Army when they were playing for the 72 team. And also, one of the things that we talk about is how this 72 team was the precursor or the prequel, if you will, to the Miracle team. A lot of the training methods and methodology of how Herb Brooks went about his job in coaching the 80 team had its had its influence directly by the 1972 coach Murray Williamson, who was good friends with Herb Brooks, and who Herb Brooks played for on the 1968 Olympic team and some of the national teams as well prior to 1972.
I have a question regarding like how your process of writing for the two of you, right? So two people writing one book at the same time. How does that work? Does one person take one part of the book? Do you talk about it ahead of time? Because you both could have the same ideas, and then you're writing about the same type of same things. So how do you guys split up what you're actually gonna write about?
So first of all, great question,
Yeah.
and we get asked this question a lot because it is an interesting dichotomy between the way Jerry and I work. But how we started off is I'm really good at arranging an outline, figuring out an outline, and so I take my first crack at figuring out what the outline is going to be.
And we talk about what we wanted, where we think things are going.
Right.
Tom puts it together in an outline. As he said, he is very good at doing that.
And then I put it together and I throw it to Jerry. Jerry looks at it and says, "Well, why don't we move something around here or do something like that to create flow?" And we discuss these things, like you said, the ideas, and then we go about just plot by plot. If it's a 15 chapter book, usually a book of about 300 pages is about 75,000 to 80,000 words. So if you break that down into 15 chapters, you're looking at 5,000 words per chapter. And from there, you kind of like, well, 5,000 words per chapter, that's not so bad. And that's each chapter has its own, story. And 5,000 words, all of a sudden, you're like, boy, I don't know if I can tell this story in less than 5,000 words or keep it to 5,000 words.
Right.
So then when it gets to that point, I'll do a first draft usually. I'll throw it over to Jerry. Jerry will take a look at it, move things around, and
Rewrite things if needed.
We'll rewrite it. He'll send it back to me. I'll tweak it a little bit some more, send it back to him. And there's just this back and forth type of nature to the way we work. And we do have a similar voice, and it seemed to work out pretty well because, like you said, this is we've done 4 of these now.
They tend to say, there's always that saying like twins think very alike, right? Is that the same for you guys when it comes to this process? Like you're on the same page with it because you're just kind of is it I don't know if it's a twins thing or just something that you just both are thinking similarly when it comes to something like this?
There's an element of the twins thing for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of it is just being able to tell the story. And we have developed through our professional careers and just being students of history and paying attention, really, how to put together stories and what we think is interesting. And we end up writing things that when we write them, we want them to be interesting to each other. And if we think they're kind of interesting to each other, then we think that other people will think they're interesting. Now, some people may not, some people may, but we've found that if we're pretty harsh critics on ourselves, so we feel like if we think it's pretty good or we're interested in how it's come out or like how it's come out, then we feel pretty good that other people would like how it came out as well.
So we just mentioned, your first book about the 1972 U.S. Olympic team and Pete Sears being on that team. You were very instrumental in getting the Oswego hockey program to retire Pete Sears' number last year. How much did that mean to you guys as a whole, and how much do you think it meant to Pete, getting that number retired?
Well, it's thank you for that credit, but a lot of credit has to go to now retired head coach Ed Gozick and his staff and the Blue Line Club at Oswego. They're really the main movers and shakers behind it. Eddie had talked to Jerry and I about it because he knew our backgrounds in television and professional sports. And we said, look, we've been around these types of things, and if you'd like our help, we'd love to help you with it. And he said, yes, please, which was great. And again, this was another labor of love, not only for Jerry and I, but for the whole Oswego hockey community. Everybody came out to those games, and it was just we had everything we could do to hold things together. The emotion of that night was palpable in the arena at Murano, and we just such an honor to be able to do that. And Pete, we'd do anything for Pete and Kay.
Yeah.
So
and we really felt like we were representing all of our friends and everybody that has played for Pete and knows Pete and Kay. And so, like Tom said, what truly, truly a great honor when Eddie asked us to be a part of it.
So this was more the school or the hockey program itself coming to you guys and bringing it up to you and knowing your background and knowing what you've done to help them kind of just put it on, prepare and put it on.
Yeah, I mean, you guys probably know this from being Oswego alum, that hockey is the big sport, and you also know that hockey is a really small community. So everybody in hockey, it seems, knows everybody, no matter where you're from, and so or there's 1 degree of separation. So when Eddie said he was going to get this approved, we said, look, anything you need and any way we can help you, we'd love to be able to do that. So that's really how it came about. And yes, Oswego, the administration, Wendy McManus and her team did a great job in allowing the things to develop the way they did, and ultimately come off the way it came off. And it was just what a night it was.
No, my wife and I were at that game, and it was one of the best games I've seen, the best ceremonies I've seen on that campus. And so I think congratulations, to you, to Coach Gozik, to the whole Wendy McManus, the whole staff, really, really a phenomenal job you've all did of pulling that off. And I thought it was really wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You mentioned Coach Gozik. Of course, he had been a part of the Laker hockey community for more than 30 years. I mean, you want to include his time as a player. We're talking about 40 years-ish. How much has he meant?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you were players yourselves for a year or so with the Laker hockey program. What have you seen from Coach Gozik, and what kind of legacy do you think he's left this program?
We have discussed, who should be the next banner hanging up in those rafters. Should be Ed Goat.
Yep.
He's the all-time winningest coach out there. He is the coach of a national champion, the only national champion at Oswego State. So that is the legacy. He built Oswego State hockey not just into a very good team, but he built it into a program.
Yep.
And the stretch that they had where they went to Final Four, Frozen Fours in 4 consecutive years, and 5 out of 6 years, and 5 out of 7 NCAA. I mean, it just incredible run, an incredible legacy. There's no doubt the next banner should be his, but they'll probably give it to another player. But his legacy has been established and is at the very top of the list.
And not only that, but and that's just what he's done on the ice, right?
Right.
He has developed this. He's developed this group. Back in the day when Jerry and I played, were on the team, it wasn't as focused academically as it is now. These guys now, most of the guys playing are science majors. So when Jerry and I were playing, we can tell you most of the guys were not science majors or business majors. You know, so they, I think they could probably major in drinking beer a lot. And but we had our fun. It was a different era of time. But I think that's I think that's what Eddie's done too, and he's also kept all of us involved.
Mhm.
Everybody, all alums, kept us all involved, and Jerry and I go back a long time, and he's kept us all involved and made us feel important. And I think that's a legacy too. That part of this program building. That's you need your alumni support, and I think Eddie's just done a fantastic job of bringing the people from years ago, decades and decades ago, from the beginning of the program to inclusion in what's happening now. And that's a real big legacy too.
Yeah, I mean, we've discussed this in the past on this podcast, and said, and we agree 1000% with you that his banner should be the next thing up there. I don't see another player, honestly, like that just sticks out, right? Like Pete Sears did. That Ed Gosick should be
You're
by
too
far.
young. You're too young.
Maybe so,
You're a little bit too young. Yeah. I mean, there are some players, and when Tom and I were just little kids, and we were the ones that were like high-fiving the team as they went by onto the ice. There were some great players. Dave Lair is in particular.
Okay.
His number 17 is a number that we will never forget.
Yeah.
Watching him play out here, he was incredible. A couple guys that we played with. Sean Fitzgerald,
yeah.
Mike Snell. They are absolutely, one day will have their numbers up there, and rightfully so.
No question.
Okay.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
But I do think it should be Gosick next.
Well,
We're not going to get too many arguments, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk. I mean, 1987, the Lakers made it to the championship game, and they lost to Plattsburgh, which then Plattsburgh's title got vacated because of little shenanigans with their eligible players. So, I mean, they were really, that was, I think, the first time they had gotten that far ever, and so they were a really good team back then. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the group that Jerry and I broke in with, and consequently, we were part of our freshman year. Sophomore year, we didn't play, and they went to the tournament, went to the finals. Probably that's why they went. But we went on to coach get into the Oswego Minor Hockey Association and started coaching some little guys. And one of the little guys that we had was a fellow by the name of Eric Cole. So his name's on the Stanley Cup.
Yep.
We were his first coach. So, things kind of work out they're supposed to work out. And if we weren't involved in that, we never would have been able to make that claim and have some of the fun that we've had with Eric over the years, and his family and his teammates. And
being able to drink out of the Stanley Cup when he brought it up to Oswego,
right,
was amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure that would. I mean, doesn't get much better than that.
No. When Jason and I were, we called play-by-play for men's ice hockey back in the late '90s. So I remember there was like Nate Elliott, I think, was an Oswego native, Jeremy Canoe, Tom Master, Alex Kurilovich. They had quite a lot of local.
We were their
talent.
first coach.
Oh yeah,
we were their first coaches. Nate,
nice.
Yeah, Nate,
Jeremy Canoe,
Spears, Master, Jeremy Canoe. We're Vashon. We were their first coaches.
Oh, Vashon, yeah.
So they came in
Matt
with Eric. Matt Vashon. Yeah, we were their first coaches.
Yep.
So we helped teach them how to skate.
Nice.
So
see, small world.
Small world.
Yeah.
You've coached hockey for a lot of years now. So was Pete Sears like one of your main influences in terms of how you coach, or who else did you kind of absorb from?
Pete, by far, we were really fortunate in from the time we went from squirts or mites and tights to high school. We had some really, really great coaches. Dan Ford was our coach, who was an assistant coach on the for with Eddie on the national championship team. Coached us when we were Bantams. We had some great younger coaches when we were younger, but there's no question about it that Pete was the biggest influence on us and a whole generation of kids here in Oswego and the Oswego hockey community. So yes, we definitely structured a lot of our how we coached and really how we taught kids and how we teach kids
And discipline them.
and that came a lot from Pete and our parents, of course. But there's no doubt about it that Pete was a major influence.
And by virtue of Pete, another major influence in that whole thinking and that mentality was Murray Williamson, who was the coach of the Olympic team in 1972. So we kind of link our hockey DNA back to Murray, and of course, Murray, who passed away about a year ago, became really, really good friends of ours, and really, it was a sad day when Murray passed. But we were very fortunate to have become friends with Murray for 20 years, and so we, by virtue of our time with Pete, can link one of our influences, Murray Williamson, for sure.
And Herb Hammond, who was the second Oswego State coach. Herb Hammond taught us how to skate. They used to have a clinic for all the local kids, and that was established by Herb and the high school coach, Jim McAllister, and they used to. It was set for the local kids, and we did in that. And Herb was a major influence as well, and like I said, taught us how to skate. And coincidentally, his name is on the Stanley Cup as a scout for the New York Rangers when the Rangers won it in 1994.
And another coincidence, Don Unger was one of the players who would come out and skate with us, who was one of the Lakers who would help us learn how to skate. And of course, Donnie became our coach the one year that we were on team. So lots of
it's crazy.
Lots of connection.
So let's talk a little bit about the Backroads to Bridge Street segment on WSYR TV in Syracuse. So you've done several episodes so far. You've tagged along with a ghost hunter. You've talked to Pete Sears, of course, in another episode in his Jersey retirement. You've explored the Chittenango and its ties to the Wizard of Oz. You've spoken with a 95-year-old hockey player from Skinny Atlas. I mean, how much have you enjoyed putting these segments together?
Yeah, it's been great. We, as you said, you just nailed about most that we've done 6 segments that have aired. We've done 2 more that haven't. I think you nailed the real
cookies in Utica.
Cookies in Utica were pretty good. The Half Moon cookies, you downstairs call them black and whites, but so it's just been really fun discovering these types of human interest stories and being able to tell them, and also the history that is involved in Central New York with all these different types of stories that we're telling has been a lot of fun to research and to tell those stories and to marry the words with the pictures.
You said you have a couple of episodes upcoming. Are there any other angles or any other kind of stories that are kind of roaming around in your heads at this point?
It's funny that you use the word angle, because today we were just shooting our 8th episode out on Lake Ontario, and we went salmon fishing with a charter boat, telling the story about charter boats. And we went salmon fishing and were able to hook into a couple lake salmon king salmon, I should say. And so that's one that's coming down the pike. We also did an episode that hasn't come out yet. It'll come out in August about the Battle of Battle Island. If you guys are golfers and you played some golf while you were here at Oswego, you probably played at Battle Island
In Fulton.
in Fulton.
Oh yeah.
And little that you may know, maybe you did, maybe you don't. Not a lot of people do that. A skirmish, a battle in the French and Indian War, 1754, 56, that time period before the Revolutionary War, was fought right where we play golf now. So
Wow.
we told the story about the Battle of Battle Island and how the golf course and state park got its name. So that was pretty cool. So
That's
those
cool.
are coming up. We went ice climbing. We went ice climbing in Salmon River last year. So we were scaling 100-foot icicles, basically, and the falls of Salmon River. That was really wild. So we have some more things like that we're thinking up for the coming year, and we're excited to start getting those stories back again and being told. And we're looking forward for future segments on Backroads of Bridge Street with Tom and Jerry on WSYR.
And can people, so for instance, if you're not from the Syracuse area, can you watch it? Do they air on? Can you view them on YouTube, or where can you view them?
They're available on streaming, and you can they're available on YouTube. But if you go to WSYR local, that's perfectly fine. Again, they are on YouTube channel. They're streamed. You can find them all there. And again, live when they air on WSYR. But it's a multi-platform situation, and we couldn't be happier with what we've been doing with WSYR and the group that we're working with. They're a tremendous group, and it's been awesome.
It's been great. It's been fun. That's the bottom line. It's been a lot of fun.
Is that how? So you've both had lengthy careers in media, in communications for various sports networks. Is that? I know I'm sure it was a lot of hard work there, but would you categorize that as just being able to do what you love doing?
Oh, most definitely. And it's funny because we've spent a long time in this industry behind the scenes. And, we had an opportunity. We were doing a lot of writing, and our portfolio grew to a point where we said, gee, some of these stories that we've written would lend themselves nicely to television. And so we decided to drop a proposal. We went to WSYR, had a meeting, did a pilot, and they liked it. And so we decided, well, let's give this a shot. And we went from behind the camera to in front of the camera at an age where most broadcasters are retiring. Well, we were just starting out. So
Not quite at an age where people are retiring, but
broadcasters,
not
broadcasters.
not the normal. It's not the normal route you would go. But again, it's been a great pivot for us in as you said, pivoting from a career behind the camera and dealing with the people that you watch on TV every weekend or every week, every day, to now doing some local segments. And we picked up a lot of what we're doing locally on air from all the great names that we worked with just by osmosis and watching them.
And their generosity as well, because when we told them what we were doing, they were in full, they backed us 100% and said, hey, anything we can do to help you succeed, absolutely help you to do that. And so it's been just a really, as Jerry said, the biggest thing about it has been a lot of fun. And we hope to keep doing it for many more years.
Jason and I attended Oswego in the late 90s. You both attended Oswego in the late 80s. Tom, you graduated from Oswego. Jerry, you transferred about halfway through to Cal State Fullerton. What are some memories that come up when you think of your time as students at Oswego?
Yeah, well, I'll say, Tom mentioned the great facilities that changed, and that I'll tell you the biggest change was not having to walk from one side of the campus to the next in that freezing cold weather. Now you can pretty much go from one end to the other inside. When we were traipsing through, it was like the frozen tundra going from one end of the campus to the next. So that was a big thing. I think maybe that may have been a little bit one of the reasons why I said, "Hey, you know what? California might be kind of cool to go to school out there."
Don't blame you, by the way. But yes, walking from like new campus, Seneca Hall, all the way out to SNIG, maybe for your physics class, that was a haul.
Or Rich Hall.
Or Rich Hall, yeah, for that matter. And I mean, you both grew up in Oswego. Did you go to Romney for a lot of Lakers hockey games growing up?
We grew up in Romney Fieldhouse, not only attending Laker games, but also skating on that ice. And it was always such a thrill for us to be skating where the Lakers skate, as 8 and 9-year-old kids and beyond. So we grew up on Romney at Romney Fieldhouse, and such fond memories.
And the Plattsburgh Oswego rivalry goes back for years, decades, and we have been part of that as fans. Not quite as players. We never played in that game, but
from the very beginning
of that rivalry.
Did you throw bagels?
Hard to believe, but
they didn't throw bagels during that time. Tennis balls and tennis balls and
a
lot of expletives.
And
Yes.
and pregame warm up fights with the mascot. The Plattsburgh used to have a cardinal that would go out there and skate. Well, one day one of our guys clipped the cardinal, broke out in their big pregame fight. That goes back to the 70s.
Wow.
It's just the rivalry and the stories go back forever. It's just classic.
Interesting. That should be a book you should write about. The Plattsburgh Oswego State rivalry.
There we go.
It would be it's one of the great ones. That's right.
Yeah.
I want one game where they turn Romney back into a rink just for the Plattsburgh game. That's all I want.
I don't know if they could do it anymore.
We're not going to see it, but boy, that'd be special. That would be special.
Yes, it would.
That would be special.
Yes, it would.
We recently found out that the boards in Romney Fieldhouse were donated, and it is now in an outdoor rink in Buffalo, in just outside of Buffalo.
Yeah.
So the boards from Romney Fieldhouse are an outdoor rink in a rink just outside of Buffalo.
We'll have to go borrow them again for one game.
So it still lives. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Exactly.
Well, Tom, Jerry, thank you so much for being. This was an absolute blast having you guys here and talking about some Laker hockey. So, thank you so much for being with us, and best wishes on Bridge Street and on your publishing career and everything, and of course Cosmic Hockey. So, where can we go, by the way, to find out more information about Cosmic Hockey?
If you go to their website, cosmichockey.com.
Okay.
And if people are interested in trying out, there's information where you can register to try out, but no beer leaguers. We want some players here. So Jerry and I are beer leaguers, and there's no way we could manage it. So no beer leaguers.
There you go.
Gotcha.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
You
All
bet.
right, you bet.
Thanks for having us,
Thanks,
guys.
And that was the current hosts of Backroads to Bridge Street with Tom and Jerry on News Channel 9 in Syracuse. Also former network television communications executives at CBS, NBC, writers, 4-time authors. Their latest book, by the way, Icebreakers, A Kid's Guide to Hockey and the Greatest Players Who Changed the Game. It's been out for about a year now, so you can pick it up on Amazon or wherever you get your books. Their first book was about Pete Sears, about the Striking Silver, that's the title. It was the story about the 1972 men's Olympic ice hockey team that took home the silver medal, and that roster included the one and only Pete Sears from Oswego State. I mean, man, they have been able to do Tom and Jerry over their lives. They've been able to do a lot of things that they love, and that's. I don't know that you can ask for much more out of life than just to be able to get up out of bed and do exactly the things you love doing, and that's phenomenal.
That's pretty cool. I mean, what they've done is they've done a lot of really cool stuff, throughout their careers. And writing books. I'm dead serious, man. That should be their next book. The Oswego, a history of Oswego hockey, or the Oswego Plattsburgh rivalry. Like, I mean, that would be a crazy cool book, I think.
I agree with you, and we should write the foreword because we're throwing bagels, and that's where that rivalry alone is what our podcast is named after. So.
Exactly, right.
We get the preamble, the prologue, the foreword, whatever you call it. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it, it's fine.
Yeah, whatever.
But I'm gonna have to say right now, really quickly. So my daughter, Sydney, she plays travel softball, and her team has not won a game all spring season. No wins, lost the first round, first game of the playoffs. Summer season, no wins. Today was the first round of the playoffs, and they won. They finally won a game.
Wow.
They won 21-16.
Wow.
Finally won a game.
Congratulations.
We're moving on. Wow. I'm very happy for these girls.
You hit that postseason hot streak, man. You can go places.
I know. And I'm not even there to see it. That's the sad part. I'm not even there to see it. I left the game to come do our podcast.
Oh, you're a trooper.
Yeah.
Good job. Also, it would have been just me by myself.
I know. I was going to run back there if the podcast ended before the game ended, but it didn't end in time. So, oh well.
So we had a little bit of a reunion over this past weekend. Jason and family had come up to catch a Syracuse Mets game, which was, you know what? And Syracuse won like 15-2.
15-2.
Nice.
I mean, it depends on how you look at the scoreboard but yeah, the final score was actually 15-2.
Yes, it was.
It was a good game. We got to see, as my kids like to call him, the big red dog, Ryan Clifford. I wanted to see if he would acknowledge it, but he didn't acknowledge them at all. That's okay. That's okay. I still can't believe he doesn't use that bat that he used in the Futures game. I mean,
it's right there.
Yeah.
Clifford, use your big red dog bat.
Maybe he'd hit better.
Maybe. Boy.
Who knows? But yeah, massive rainstorms all day on Saturday. Wasn't sure if they'd actually play the game, but then I was like, no, there's a huge window later on. Huge rainstorm at like 6:30 at night, 6 o'clock at night, and game finally got underway. Took a while, ended around like midnight. I feel like close to midnight,
something like that. Yeah, it was maybe a quarter to midnight.
Yeah,
but it was a good time.
It was a good time. Yep.
Yeah. So I think I agree with Tom and Jerry where. Ed Gozik's number, or would not, maybe just his name. I don't know, but I
think they put the wins.
Yeah, 427.
Yeah,
career win total 427 out of Oswego. I don't know that anyone is ever going to top that.
No, I doubt it.
So really, that was a heck of an era. So they made Oswego under Coach Rolls last season, made it to the championship in 2003. And then Coach Gozik took over. They won the national title in 2007. And then in the early teens, for like 5 straight seasons, they made it to the Frozen Four. I think a couple of title games in that mix as well during those Frozen Four appearances. And there you go. That's a heck of a run. And so I don't know that we'll ever see a run like that again, because you know what? Because hockey, D3 hockey now is so much more competitive.
Yeah.
That even quote unquote bad teams now can jump up and bite anyone.
Right.
So it's just so much harder now.
Yeah.
I think to have that run of success, which then tells you just how good Hobart has been to win, 3 straight titles. They were looking for number 4, but they got upset by Hamilton.
Bummer.
Maybe not upset, but Hamilton pulled it off.
No, it's
because
an
Hamilton
upset. It was
just
an
as
upset.
good.
Hamilton was good, but I think it was an upset.
All right, well, we'll go with upset. Okay.
Yeah.
So then Hamilton wins that. But just D3 is just so much better now than it was, 20 years ago, 20, 30 years ago.
Mm.
So there you go. So that's just to sum up. I think we should hang number 427 from the rafters and honor
Agreed.
Coach Gozick.
Agreed.
But to Tom and Jerry's point, there have been a lot of great players that have come through the system, over the
It's
past
true.
50, 60 years of Laker hockey.
I still think Gosick goes the next, though.
You can certainly argue. You can make the argument for it. That's for
Yeah.
sure. All right. I think that'll do it for this edition of the Throwing Bagels podcast. You can find us online at throwingbagels.com. You can email us, throwingbagelspodcast@gmail.com. And we'll see you next time. Adios.
Bye.